Good morning, everyone. Leslie Myrick here, interior designer and business coach with Nancy Ganzekaufer, and it is Monday Makeover with Robin White from RDW Design Studio. Good morning, Robin.
Morning, Leslie. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. So, these audits bring me such great joy. I love seeing other designers' websites, first of all, and just seeing what else is out there and getting ideas and inspiration. But hearing your insights as to little things you can tweak and change is incredibly valuable. So today we're going to audit a services page. And I love this wording. And I think this is an important question. Is your services page costing you clients?
Right.
Another way to say that is your interior design services page converting? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Exactly. And it's such an important thing. It's one of the most important pages on your website because it's
Yeah.
where you're actually taking prospective clients from where they are today to where they want to be. So, what your services page needs to be doing is actually selling the transformation that your services provide to your ideal clients, not sharing all the little nitty gritty details of what's included with each service. Because when we really
Uh-huh.
think about things, what a prospective client wants from you is they want you to take the lead and you to do what needs to be done, however you do that, to get them the result they want. And how you go about doing that shouldn't really be as important to them as the finished result. So you're
That's
selling the
huge. You
transformation.
you just like sailed through that beautifully, but I want to
Mhm.
circle back to that. You're selling the transformation. You're not selling,
Yeah.
here's our 6-step process, or here's all the ingredients in the soup. You're selling the soup.
Yes, exactly. So, for example, if full service design is, one of your services, getting into the nitty-gritty on your website isn't about procurement and this and that and these words that your prospective clients don't know what those mean. Like
Mhm.
you'll need to explain those to them and educate them on that during your discovery call, during your in-home consultation while you're working with them. But on your website, that's confusing interior
Yeah.
design jargon that they don't know. They might not even really know what full service interior design means, right? So we need
Yeah.
to educate that on them. But on the website, we don't need to put all of those details. The same way you don't need to have every single service that you offer on your website, right? So think about that because again, too much information is overwhelming. If
Yep.
you're overwhelmed, you're confused. And if you're confused, you're going to bounce off the website and find something that's less confusing. So sometimes, if you offer 6 different services, for example, and there's nothing wrong with it if you do, all 6 may not need to be on your website. Some can kind of be in your back pocket that you can bring up as you're talking to somebody
Yeah.
if it's relevant for them. But again, we want to make sure that everything on the services page is really simple and transformation focused.
We could be done now. That's great advice, Robin. And we coach designers all the time in the Profit Insiders Academy who want to help everyone. And like, well, I want to be able to serve this and this and this. And personally, there was one point in my business, I think I had 7 services on my services page, ranging from like a $250 buy it now, pre-made room design, click and shop, to luxury full service whole home design,
Right.
thinking, this is great. Someone finds me. I've got service options to meet them where they are. But instead, nobody bought anything because they're like, who is this chick that's selling pre-made crap
Yeah.
and thinks they can design my luxury new build?
Yes.
So what
And
you
to
said
that
is
end,
exactly what we teach.
yeah. And what I would suggest for someone who's in that kind of situation, Leslie,
Yeah.
is if the luxury interior design is where you really want to be, but you're a little scared of losing those people that don't necessarily have the investment level for it. So you want to offer that $250
Yep.
service. Don't put that $250 service on your website
Exactly.
because that is going to, um, when a luxury client lands on your website, that $250 service is going to cause a disconnect and a distrust, and they're going to leave. So keep that cheaper option in your back pocket for a discovery call when you're speaking to someone and talking about investment level and they don't have the investment level for full service. You can bring up this other offer, but don't put that on your website then.
I fully agree. Only put
Mhm.
out there what you really want more of. And that's how
Yes.
I've evolved. And, I've got
Mhm.
more service options than what I show.
Mhm.
But like you were saying, I don't want to confuse people. I want people to know who I am and who they are and see if that aligns. So
Exactly.
I'm excited to look at this audit today because it's just I feel like we're so close to our own websites often that we can't see what other people see from the outside.
Mhm.
So
Very
let's
true.
let's
Very
let's
true.
walk through this.
Yeah.
Tell
So
us a little bit
today
about this designer.
we're looking at Nancy, and she's the owner of Mabel Design. And thank you so much, Nancy, for
Yes.
volunteering your website for us to do this. And to that end, if anybody who's listening, anybody in the group, anybody watching wants to volunteer their website, drop a note in the comments and we can get you added on to our
Yes.
list. I can't remember. We might be looking for somebody for May at this point, something like that, but we'll get you added on. So, I always like to start with the header section where the logo and menu are, even though that's website wide. I
Yes.
think it's really nice that she set it up with logo on the left, menu on the right. That's the most conventional way to set everything up. I love that she has contact at the far right. That's definitely where we want that to be. One thing that I would say is welcome, which is her homepage, could be removed if she wants to have
Hmm.
one less item in the menu, purely because clicking on the logo will take anyone from another page back to the homepage. So sometimes that can be something to take out just to simplify things. But as it stands now, it's perfectly okay. We've got 7 items in the main menu. That's the max that I suggest doing. I never suggest more than that. So
Okay.
well done there. And it's nice and simple and clear. We've got one word pages, and we know what everything is. The only thing is read might be blog, and I
I
might
was
suggest,
wondering that. I'm like, is this like book links or did
yeah,
you say that it is probably a blog?
yeah. And I would actually suggest changing that to blog, just so, again, so we're following the normal convention so that everything is very simple for
Yeah.
everybody to find exactly what they're looking for. But doing really well there. And then if we look at the first section on her services page, I love this section. It says our services, so we know where we are. Font hierarchy is really done well here because the
Yes.
heading is bold, it's italic, it's larger. Then we've got the paragraph text. It's not too long, it's broken up into 2 paragraphs. I love the 2-column setup with the image in one column and the
Yeah.
words in the other. And I love the photo of Nancy and the fact that she is looking towards the wording. That is just
Interesting.
it's a very subtle thing that actually, when you look at the photo, it makes you look at the words. If it had been flip-flopped the other way, it wouldn't work as well. She'd be looking like off screen.
That's
Yeah.
such great insight. And I
Mhm.
wanted to note too her hands. Nancy is a certified body language trainer, which I find so interesting. Hands are trust indicators. And the fact that you can see both of her hands, they're relaxed, they're confident.
Yes.
I mean, that's a banging profile
It's a
photo. I think it's a
great photo.
beautiful photo. Good
Oh,
job,
yeah,
Nancy.
and body language wise, I mean, having your hand on your waist like that, isn't that almost, I know it's usually both of them, but that's sort of like a power pose, isn't it?
I like that this is sort of like a relaxed power pose. But yes, you're
Yes.
right. It's like the Wonder Woman
Yeah.
two hand. That wouldn't work, but no, I think this is a
No,
beautifully done photo.
it's perfect. So I think that's really great. One improvement that I would suggest, and I think it's actually a really important one, is her button that says view our services is almost illegible.
Hmm.
The white on the light pink, there is not enough of a contrast there. And I struggle. I don't have the
Yeah.
best eyes, but I do struggle to read that. So one way around it could be to simply make the white text black,
Hmm.
because that will pop more on the light pink. But
I
that's
agree.
something
I
really
had the same
important.
thought when I saw it that I have good vision and I was thinking that that contrast could be an issue to potential clients.
Yes, yes. exactly. But otherwise, I think really well done. I
Mhm.
like what she says here, even though this isn't a copy audit. I think that she's done a really good job with what she's written here as well. So
Yeah.
nicely done. Yeah, yeah. And then this next section, I really love the design of this as well. And I'll just start with that image at the
Okay.
top,
Mhm.
just a subtle design element. So oftentimes in website design, it's very linear and you'll have section, 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 and it's just horizontal lines that divide them. So
Yeah.
this use of bringing that image up into the section above actually doesn't make it a straight line
Yeah.
dividing the section above from this section, and is a very nice design element to bring in. It's something I do quite a lot as well. So I really like that that's been done here. And I like that the background color is ever so slightly different from the section
Yes.
above, but still very subtle and soft. So I think that's been done really well. And then you can see she's got her different services here. And this has been designed really nicely as well, because again, we always want to think about different buying personalities. So
Mhm.
here, if you just look at it like this, you can get a very quick overview of what Nancy offers.
Yeah.
If you want to find out more information about each of the services, you can by clicking the drop down. And it's wonderful because she's giving you a description of the service, the benefits, why you should choose it. So again, in her copy, she's really addressing the kinds of points that she should be addressing here,
Yeah.
but it's designed in a very nice way for different buying personalities to, it's not filling up the page because we have the drop
Yeah.
down. So I really like that. Well done. Yep. And then again, we've got good font hierarchy here. We've got all caps for the services, so they stand out. We've got bold and italic for sort of a call to action, which is really done. And again, I would really look at those buttons.
Yeah.
That's going to be something throughout the page, really wanting to change that so that it is more legible.
Yep.
Nicely done section. And then I'm a big fan of words overlaid over images.
It's very
Um,
pretty.
I think it's really pretty. However, again, I'm having trouble reading it. Not enough contrast between the background image, which is quite light, and the white text over it, and then the button again. So one way that you can work around this is when you put a background image on your website, you should be able to do a color overlay over it. So I would suggest doing almost a black overlay, giving it some opacity
Mhm.
so that you can see through to the image, but it is now making the image dark enough that you can actually read the words that you've put over it, if that makes sense.
So you
Because
would use black to overlay the image, but then adjust the transparency to see enough of the image through, but allow that white text to pop off of it.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. The only other thing that you could do is make the text black. And that might work on this photo. It might not, in which case you could left align all of the text and kind of
Mhm.
fit it in that area that just has nothing in it and do all of the text there. So to the side
Yeah.
of where Nancy's standing, then it wouldn't fight against anything and you could read it clearly.
Okay.
So different ways, but again, the legibility is really important because we want people to read the words. But otherwise, I love the idea of this section.
Me too. And I struggle with that as a visual person and designer, Robin, because like this looks so beautiful, but you do have to consider legibility, usability, accessibility
Yes,
in that page design for sure.
exactly, exactly. But I
All
think the
right.
couple of tweaks that can be really well done. I'm so happy to see testimonials here.
Mhm.
Oftentimes we don't, and Leslie, you've heard me say this, add testimonials. So my biggest recommendation is to have excerpts of testimonials on almost all of the pages of your website. This is really important social proof. It
Yeah.
is a sales pitch in someone else's words. So it's somebody else who's worked with you talking about you. So it means more than you saying you can do it. This is somebody who you've done it for saying you can do it. So it carries a lot more weight. So I love that she's got testimonials here. But again, I'm looking at this white text on a very light blue background. And while it's clearer than the pink button, it's still difficult to read. And that can be solved, I think, very simply by making it all black on the light blue. Yep. Yep. Because again, we want people to be able to read the fantastic testimonials, right? Yeah. Again, super happy to see that there's an FAQ section.
Yes.
Because we often don't see that. And FAQ sections are really fantastic. And I would say I love them for two reasons. One is if a potential client is actually reading your website, because we know a lot of them skim, but if they're actually reading, this can be a fantastic place to address questions that you're asked over and over and over again to perhaps alleviate you having to answer them on a discovery call, right? And that is a really good way to come up with the questions and answers to include in an FAQ section. If you're finding that every discovery call you're getting the same question asked, put it here.
Yeah.
Right? It means it's something people want to know. But the other really great thing about an FAQ section is it's great for SEO. So it can be really good to as a place to get keywords in the text on the page that might not fit somewhere else, right? It is also, and this, I don't want to get too technical, but on the back end of your website, you can apply an FAQ schema markup to the FAQ section. And what that signals to Google is that this is something that could potentially be pulled as a rich snippet in search results. So you've seen rich snippets before. When you search for something, generally not if you're searching interior designer near me. It has to be more of like a question, let's say, which is why it's an FAQ type of schema. The question and answer will be given on the search results page. You don't actually have to click over to the website to read it, right? So that's a rich snippet. And that, gosh, if you can get one of your FAQs and your website in a rich snippet, that's amazing. So that's why frequently asked questions can be really good, but you've got to get everything set up properly on the back end.
That's a great point, because just having it say frequently asked questions, Google's not going to treat it the same way as if you have all the back end code. If you've got a great web designer like Robin, just have them do it. Ask them how to do it. It's not that hard, but you do need to set it up properly.
It's not hard at all, but let's think about it. Google are bots. They're not people. Bots don't read this. They're looking at the back end code to see what this actually is. So where FAQs can be really good for SEO, because obviously some of them you want to be very specific to you and your business and your process and how you work. Those may not necessarily be pulled as a rich snippet. Those are really worthwhile for your potential clients. What's going to be pulled as a rich snippet is something that is more general. So what is the role of an interior designer? At what stage should I hire an interior designer? Those are good general questions that aren't specific to Nancy's business. Those could potentially be pulled as a rich snippet. So, but you can see what type of projects do you take on? That's going to be specific to Nancy's business, right? So having a combination of both is what I would normally suggest.
Great.
Yeah. So well done. And again, button, we want to fix that.
Yeah.
And then here again, we have the same thing where we've got this really beautiful blue, but I can't read what's here so well. So I would definitely recommend doing some darker colored text. And that section, what makes us tick? I really love the idea of this section. But then the call to action is get in touch. And I almost see those as like two separate sections on the page. Or if she wanted to keep the design like this, the paragraph above get in touch, I would want to have like a stronger heading and then a little bit
Okay.
less text, if that makes sense. So something, again, I'm not a copywriter, but something very compelling that is going to get someone to click the button, get in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
Ooh,
yeah, I have never seen
me
a section
neither.
like this. I kind of like it.
Yeah. It looks like
Yeah.
just individual images that I'm guessing
Yeah.
are not their studio's work, but just things that they're enjoying. Or
That's what I'm thinking, and it's sort of an interesting concept. I like the layout of it.
me too.
I think that's very interesting. I mean, in a way, it's kind of showing, um, it's showing what's inspiring her. Maybe it's showing a bit of her design style. I think, I don't know where Nancy is in her business and if she has a very extensive portfolio or not.
Mhm.
Might suggest, if you do have a lot of professional photography and you do have an extensive portfolio, that maybe you're using your own work as your current inspiration, highlighting that. Maybe some
Ooh,
of them are clickable links to a project page that's on your website, things like that. But I kind of like the section.
I do too. I do have a question though. Do you see any issues with not being credited? Because it looks like these are all just uploaded images. There's no links, there's no credit to where they came from.
Yes, I see a big issue with that, and that's a
Okay.
really good point to bring up. There can be uh, a big problem with that. So I would say if it's, and for all we know, these could be free stock
Yep.
photos
Or
that
maybe
she
AI
has the license
generated or something
to
like that.
use. Or it's possible that they are paid stock photos that she has the
Mhm.
license to use on her website and she doesn't have to credit the
Yep.
photographer. But I would definitely make sure that you do have the license to be able to show these
Yeah.
images on your website. That's incredibly important,
Okay.
or you can be opening yourself up to a lawsuit. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, you
Yes.
can.
Yes.
And I think
Um,
that's it for the page.
yeah,
It
I
just
think
goes
that's
into her
it. Her
footer.
footer is, again, I would love to see the black text so we can read it a little bit better, but great that she's got links to social media here. Great that she's got a
Mhm.
menu here. So once you get to the bottom of the page, you can click to other pages. She has a privacy policy and a terms of use. So
Yay.
kudos to that, Nancy. And I think this is her service area, which is really nice. And then another way to book a discovery call with her. So I think this is all set up really nicely, except for the fact that it's a little difficult to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, a really nicely designed and well done page.
I agree. I think it's beautiful. It's very
Yeah.
clean, very you can tell it's very current.
Yes. 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 It's very simple and clean. It's organized well. And I
Yeah.
think once we take care of the legibility issues,
Yeah.
it's perfect. Yeah.
I
Really well
agree.
done.
And the aesthetics are beautiful, but with the topic of today's live being is your page converting slash is it costing you clients? That lack of legibility could be costing her clients. They can't read
For
the button
sure.
properly. They don't fully understand. They're having a hard time, and that's enough to send them on their way. So I think that's a small but very impactful change and
Yes.
something to look at on our own websites too. Have we chosen pretty over functional? Because
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
guilty sometimes, and then I have to go change it or make the font bigger, and it's
We
for the
can all
greater
be
good of your
human.
business.
Yeah. And it kind of, in a way, goes beyond just having something, just providing a good user experience for your potential clients. It's
Yeah,
actually, you use the word accessibility, and that's become a bigger and bigger deal
yeah,
in web design lately. And that color contrast throughout your entire website, amongst many, 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 many other things, all goes into the website being accessible and
yeah.
is becoming a more and more important topic, and has opened lots of types of businesses up for lawsuits as well. So,
Ooh, I
um,
did not know that.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. Well, the same way that a public building needs to be accessible to everyone, there are now shifts happening regarding websites being accessible to
Okay.
everyone. And the laws are not completely crystal clear.
Yeah.
A lot of it depends on the size of your business. So again, for a lot of interior designers who might be solopreneurs, it might not be something that they have to think about. But I would say this is something that within the next 5 to 10 years, we're all going to have to think about very carefully.
That's a good heads up.
If not sooner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Thank you, Robin. That was a great audit. Any final thoughts, takeaways for designers if they're feeling like, man, I'm getting website traffic and it's not converting, or I'm, getting basically something's not working in business? What should they be paying attention to on their services page that might have a noticeable improvement for them?
Yeah. So I would say the top things to look at are, one, that you're selling the transformation and not just the nitty gritty of what's included in the service.
Mhm.
Two, that you're not confusing people. Three, that you've got testimonials. And four, that you have a call to action.
There you go. You've just been handed the roadmap from an expert on how to
Yeah.
nail your services page. Robin, thank you so much. If you are interested in seeing what Robin does, hiring her for your website because she's great, go to rdwdesignstudio.com and you'll be back next month, I hope, for another Monday Makeover website audit.
Absolutely. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Leslie.
Thanks, Robin. Bye, everyone.
Bye.